Rugby magazine, Zell editor, Mark here. We've got the MoneyMan, our foreign correspondent. He's not in Buenos Aires, he's in a nice little village called Nice. Kevin Ferguson, give us a score.
Bonjour, Mark. Bonjour, Zell.
Hi there. Très bien. Merci.
That's the extent of my French.
As I asked him, parlez-vous anglais? All right, we are speaking English. We're not playing the French. That's November.
Yes.
It's the Pumas in Buenos Aires against the Springboks. And Zels and I spoke about it. It took us 10 minutes to pick this team. It's taken them 10 months to settle on this team and say this is the best team. Same again, Kev. What do you think of that selection?
Well, it's heading in the right direction, you know. But from a punter perspective, Mark, how do you pick a winner when Australia's beaten South Africa, Argentina's beaten New Zealand, and Australia's beaten South Africa once? The table has never been so close. You know, it sort of speaks to either the weaknesses in the Southern Hemisphere sides, or just speaks to maybe there's some parity. I don't know. You know, it was definitely an improvement last 2 weeks ago when the Boks ran out. You could just see it straight away, the impact that those players made. And like you said, it took a long time to get there. And I don't think we lose anything with Yankees not in their team. But that's all I'm going to say. Last time I opened my mouth about a Bok, I had to go out and kick some shots at goal, and it cost me 10,000 rand, and it took me about a week to get my legs to be able to walk on them. So,
well, okay. You know,
I don't think there's a good shag left in me, so I'm not going to say anything about that incident.
Well, the thing about this, Kev, is we won't send you to the field to kick, but we may send you in for a bit of a dietitian checkup, okay? And with a little massage therapist afterwards. Zels, Elton Yankees has dominated the news in the last couple of weeks. He wasn't in the match day 23. Does it affect, this one question at Zels there, Kevin, does it affect the Boks preparation at all?
I don't think so.
There might be a few jealous players in the team. You know, it has to be a distraction. Anytime you're talking not about and focusing on the week ahead, it's a distraction. So there will be distractions for sure.
Well, I can tell you, Kev, having been to Buenos Aires many times, there's plenty of distractions every day, every hour of the day in Buenos Aires. So,
yeah, I've been there as well, Mark, and I do understand what you're referring to.
It's not the steak.
I thought you were not going to mention.
And for those that swing the other way, there's some good-looking men as well.
All right.
Thanks,
okay.
Kev.
Thanks for that, Kev. We'll take your word for that. Zels?
Yes.
I'm feeling gender fluid today.
It's wonderful, mate. You've finally joined the woke culture.
Fantastic. Guys, I don't think the Elton issue is a distraction for this team. I think that they have changed track out of necessity. I think fate has conspired to force them to pick their best team.
No, the conspiracy theorist.
I don't think that Elton is in the long-term plans anymore. And I think this is going to be the Damian Willemse show, at least for the next 2 matches. And I really hope that he stays healthy, because if he doesn't, I'm not sure there's another player. I hear Faf is now a backup 10 option. So I think they'll be so busy concentrating on putting that team together and putting a performance together to win. I don't really think a guy shenanigans around Nelspruit from months ago is really going to...
Yeah, and I also think what I'm really pleased about is they go on with the same starting 8 as a pack. And that's the key. Okay, we'll go back to what you said earlier. New Zealand wins one week, they lose the next. Australia wins, they lose the next. Argentina wins, they lose the next. Where Argentina have had the wood over Australia in that second test, and then also New Zealand, their forwards were very good, their defensive patterns were very good. I believe we got a pack that cancels their pack out, you know. At worst and at best can dominate them, where they don't have the back capacity that a New Zealand has or an Australia has. So even when we don't cancel New Zealand or Australia's pack out, we take a beating because their skill sets are their backs. I don't think Argentina's got that in their game. I think it's going to be one of those messy, ugly games, but that the pack will be too strong. What's also pleasing for me is that Dion Foury's been kept as a backup hooker, loose forward, and Ulrich Loh finally is going to get some game time, having been drinking orange juice and carrying tackle bags for the best part of the last 2 months.
Glorious. It's odd though, we heard that Evan Ruiz was being saved to test his maul defense out in Argentina, and now he's not in the squad, but very happy for Ulrich Lowe. I think what's also different about this squad is that for the duration of Russie's term, it's very much been a team where the starters hold the line and the bomb squad comes on and finishes the game. And I think that's been completely reversed during this rugby championship. It's very much on the starters to set the table in Argentina and for the finishers to just hold the line and hopefully see out the win. I don't feel like that bench is going to come on and potentially win a game like that in Argentina, though I do like the Ulrich Lowe's, the Dion Faris. I don't feel like it's the same world-class impact that you'd get from the original bombs.
Well, it's a very different dynamic now because Malcolm Marx and Stephen Kitsoff showed in Adelaide. Stephen Kitsoff played 71 minutes as a loose head.
Yeah.
Malcolm Marx played 81 minutes as a starting hooker.
Spot on.
He was as good in the 81st minute as the first minute.
Exactly.
And I think, Kev, and you can come in here as well, what it's shown is horses for courses. When you have the capacity and the artillery, play the bomb squad. When you don't, play a traditional 15-1
I agree with
and acknowledge they are the best starting 15 on the day.
Yeah, look, the thing I like about Argentina is, you've got New Zealand that's won 4 out of their last 10 test matches, if I'm not mistaken. You've got the Springboks that have struggled. You see, I disagree with you on the backs with Argentina. I think that they're if anything like becoming like the French. They try and keep the ball alive. They pass well from in tight spaces, and they're a physical bunch of bastards. And I mean, they really are. And it's not an easy place to go and win.
We have struggled there in the past, eh?
Yeah.
What's that?
I said we have struggled there in the past, and if you take 2018, we took a big one in Mendoza. We were 32-7 down at one stage before losing 32-19, and that was the bulk of the side that won the World Cup. So I think the respect is there for the Pumas, having put 48 points past Australia, having knocked over New Zealand in Christchurch. They're a side capable of beating anyone. But I've always found when South Africa plays Argentina, it's a bit like South Africa plays South Africa A. They're very similar in their approaches, especially their confrontational forward thing. And if I go back to last year, we comfortably zipped them at home with 2 different playing squads. So I would be surprised if we drop this one, because we win this one, we potentially set ourselves up to win the Rugby Championship, especially with New Zealand playing on Thursday night. So we'll know exactly where we position. If New Zealand do drop that game, Australia's not going to go to Auckland and win at Eden Park. It really does set us up. So Nino has spoken about this being a semi-final.
Yes.
And can they match the intensity of that?
So we started the show by talking about distractions, and I think the distraction for the Boks this week is the talk about needing a bonus point. Needing to get bonus points from these matches against Argentina to overhaul New Zealand. And I think that is a potential massive red flag for the Boks, because if they go out there trying to score 4 tries and get bonus points, they're going to get the opposite result. The key for the Boks to win the Rugby Championship, and it starts in Buenos Aires this weekend, is to go out there and play their percentage tactics, build scoreboard pressure, make Argentina chase the game, back their defense, and somewhere in that process, hopefully we get the bonus point. But if the Boks come out to throw the ball around with the mindset of we need to get 4 tries out of this game, I have a feeling it could blow up in their faces.
I don't know. I disagree with you there, because I don't think Willems is your guy to build scoreboard pressure. So I think they are going to go out there and play a very attacking type of game, but play an intelligent type of game. I don't think they're going to win this game because we're kicking 6 out of 7. I think we've got to score 4 tries to win this game.
No, we will. I mean, look, we will win 4, but I'm saying there's a difference between going out and sort of building the innings and then taking the shots when they come, as opposed to chasing that from the outset. If you go out there with the mindset, guys, we need to move this ball around because we've got to score 4 tries, that's not Bok rugby. I feel like that will take us away from our strengths.
Kev, any odds on Faf de Klerk coming on in the 78th minute and kicking a drop goal? What odds would you get on that?
It's not the same odds as me making those 2 kicks, but
What kind of game were you expecting, Kevin?
I'm expecting a high-scoring game. I really am. I don't know why. There has tended to be some decent scoreboard accumulation in a lot of the games. I think you can discard that 53-point game that the All Blacks scored against Argentina, simply because, for me, and I was so annoyed I didn't make this bet. Should have seen it coming a mile away. Such a rookie mistake. When you look at what Argentina did in Australasia is they had nothing left in the tank. You know, they'd put 48 up against Australia. They'd left it all on the field in the second game against New Zealand and won well. They weren't lucky winners. They won really well. And so once you achieve, I think they had set out to achieve what they wanted to achieve. And even to them, winning in New Zealand was more than they could have hoped for. So they were always due for a letdown in that game that they lost badly. So I'm throwing that game out and saying that's not a comparative game to judge them as a team. I judge them on the two victories and the victories and the game they should have won against Australia. So they should have won 3 or 4. This is going to be a tough game for the Boks. And you know, I'm going to look at the point total in this game and look at going high at 53.5. I got a sneaky feeling that Argentina are going to win this game. They'll be full of confidence.
Well, I don't like those sneaky feelings of yours, Kev.
Or that powder bloomers top you're wearing there.
No, it's a Hugo Boss, bud. I had a meeting today with some staff, and I just had to let them know that I was still the boss, even though I'm out away from.
Fantastic. But you talk about points total, Kev. If you look, it was that 48 that they scored against Australia. The match before that, it was I think 70 points collectively, and then the 3 tests against Scotland were big scoring games every time. So if we play the approach that we play,
I say that I like the way Argentina are approaching this game, and considering where they are in the draw for the World Cup, they're worth a cheeky punt to win it, because you can always trade out of that bet in the semifinal, because I think Argentina will be one of those teams that gets to the semifinals.
All right, well, let's forget World Cup for now. Let's talk Buenos Aires. Hostile environment, but a wonderful crowd, a lot of intensity there. What is your points differential going to be?
Mark, you know, this is one of those games that is a better, it doesn't matter how much hindsight's 100%. So I think that this is going to be a high scoring game, which will suit either team from a bonus point of view. I think that Australia are going to get hammered by New Zealand tomorrow. It is what's the day? Oh, it's Wednesday. Okay, so tomorrow I think that if you look at the last 10 games that Australia's played New Zealand, even with the two wins for Australia and the draw, the average, taking those into account and giving those points to Australia, they've still lost. They've still lost by an average of 16.5 points. So I like New Zealand to get all 5 points in that game. And I know we said we were going to talk about it, but I think that is going to give a clearer picture for the teams that are playing on Saturday in Buenos Aires. So I think that the score is going to be 35-28 Argentina.
Sure.
All right, Zels, what do you go?
I'm going to go 32-27 to the Boks.
You know, I was also thinking a 32 for the Boks and a 24 for Argentina. But I think we all agreeing with you, Kev, in terms of the combined tally. I disagree with you, though, in Melbourne. I think New Zealand's going to lose. And if you're watching this on Thursday afternoon, one of us is going to look a bit sillier than the other. And if you're watching it on Friday, we may even look more silly. But this is without the benefit of hindsight.
Anytime we do a video, we always roll the dice on how it's going to date. You know, I love when people say, I don't think this is going to date well. Well, you know, I've had a lot of bad dates in my life. So
I always like to put the score in straight after the final game and say like 32-24, and someone says, Jesus, you called it. Yeah, look at the time I called it, mate. 81st minute. So, Zels? Yeah.
For New Zealand, New Zealand Australia, I'm going to say New Zealand's going to win that match by 11 points. I'm going to say it is going to be, let's say, 34-23.
Bonus point as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 16, and I'm going to say 36-20.
So, if you look at that, then New Zealand gets the bonus point. They pretty much just have to win.
Home and host.
And what we would do would be irrelevant in Argentina. Will we then be building for the World Cup again?
I mean, who knows, mate? Who knows?
All right, so the money man is going All Blacks to thump the Wallabies. The Pumas, a very good Puma side, to beat the Springboks. The Welshman in him coming to the fore.
That's not my bet, Mark. My bet is going to be high. I think there's going to be over 60 points scored in this game.
So you're going over under. Yeah.
So, you know, I'll have a look at the odds. Unfortunately, the most betting companies don't put out the points total until the day of the match, for obvious reasons, whether weather, late replacements, and all that stuff. But I would say you're looking at 63 points scored. So if I can get anything in the 50s at even money on a point total of 52.5, 53, I'm going to take that for a couple grand.
All right, so the punt from the money man is on combined points tally. His personal belief, if he was just picking the game, is it's going to be a home team win, and the inconsistency of the tournament, home ground advantage, he thinks will play in the favour of the Pumas. Zels and I disagree on that. I agree with myself that the Wallabies will use home ground advantage, and the money man and the SA Rugby editor expert disagree with me and say Dave Rennie's team is going to take a big one. It's been a pleasure chatting to you, Zels.
Thanks,
Kev,
Mark.
look after yourself in Nice, behave yourself, and don't not behave yourself. And we'll chat to you over the weekend, mate.
Yeah, I've got a 1 o'clock with a dietitian now. I've just got to rush off too, you know.
That's fine. Zels has got a 3 o'clock with a massage therapist. Thanks, guys.